Now with our crater shape in place, we want to add a snow shape around here that will blend these corners in. So let's go up to the objects and make a plane. And actually, that looks like about the right size. Let's turn down the segments to 1. That way we just have a single quad here. And I'll hit C to make it editable. And up here, we want to add this subdivision. So hold Option or Alt and click that. That'll make it a parent of this plane. And then that smooths this out and makes a nice circular shape. But unlike a disk, which I'll show you here, a disk has all the points going towards the center, all these edges. But if you take a plane and subdivide it, you still get a circular shape, but you have nice quads that go across it, so you don't get any pinching in the middle here. So I'll set the subdivisions in the editor and renderer to 4. The renderer doesn't really matter because we're not rendering this, so this first value is the one you need to worry about. And I'll middle click and collapse these, or connect them, and rename this to snow. And what we want to do is have it ground level here, and then have it raise up a bit just to cover these edges, and then dip back down in the middle for the crater. So I'll select this middle point, and over in the tool area, I'll turn on soft selection, and I'll increase this until it reaches just the outer edge a teeny bit. In my case, around 180 looks good. And I'll just pull this up until all the pieces are underneath. And I can manually fix a few of these little pieces. So now I'll turn this down until this area that the crater is going to happen in is just covered. And we can keep tweaking this as we go. So it's kind of hard to see how far out we are, but we'll see how this works soon. So pulling this down, I want it to be just low enough to uncover these last pieces. So I'll undo and just make sure I watch it. Feels like around there is a good depth. And now I'll make this radius smaller, maybe about 50. And I'll just go around and push and pull these just to give it a little variety and to flatten things out. And already you can see how this is shaping up. I'll hit NA to hide all those edges. So you can see this is kind of a snowy surface, and there's this little bump up as the impact kind of pushed some of the snow out. And then we have the crater itself. And now all these pieces have snow underneath, so they're not just holes that go forever. And already I think that looks great. I might go push a few more points just to even some of these hard edges out. And if we want to make any adjustments to the actual ice shatter shape, we can select that, go to Faces mode. We'll turn off the soft selection here. And then if you double click on any of these, it'll select only connected polygons. And then we can just manually rotate these a little bit, just in case some of these pieces look a little out of place. And then flipping over to the bottom, we can see some of these pieces might not even be visible, so we can just delete those. Looks like that's everything. Maybe this big piece over here we can delete as well. Now to make this more efficient, with Ice Shatter selected, we can switch over to the UV Edit mode. And you can see we have a few holes now that we deleted some of these. So in UV packing, with geometric still selected, we'll just hit apply here. And now it maximizes that UV space. Now all we have to do is make some UVs for the snow layer. If I hold shift and double click the UV tag, we can see it's actually pretty perfect already because using this subdivision, it knew to bend these UVs as we added all these extra edges. So we can just expand this out a little bit and check the textures. And that actually looks perfect, so we don't really have to do anything here. I will, however, switch over and just make sure it's as big as it can be. So with this selected, I'll go to UV packing, geometric, and hit apply. And that'll just zoom it in a little bit so the edges are right up against there. And this gap size of 3, you'll see there's this little 3 pixel width here. And that takes into account this resolution. So if we're working with a 1024 texture, we want that gap size to be a few pixels just so there's no bleed in the texture softness in the corners. So now we have our ice shatter and our snow all set up and all unwrapped. So now we'll start texturing in the next lesson.